Welcome to the question and responses for the healing power of sleep. Now, please like this video, share this vital, life-changing information, and subscribe to our channel. It's going to help us grow and spread this information. Now, let's get into it. Question 1 from Tough Essie. Any suggestions on quitting smoking? I wake up sweating, and I know it's from my breathing, mild emphysema. Yeah, let's get you healthy. Okay, now number one, one of the coolest examples ever is you got to look at why a person is smoking. Okay, it's like a gift to themselves. I had one patient, he painted cars for 40 years, which is really a toxic environment. He was smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day. And he said, Doc, you're the only one that told me not to give up smoking. And I said, well, yeah, because it's the one thing you do for joy. So I told him to go get organic tobacco, hand roll it yourself, everything else. He went from 4 packs a day, and 20 cigarettes per pack, 80 cigarettes a day, down to 12, because he was taking the time to roll it. So reduce the amount, switching to organic tobacco. It's not healthy, but it's less chemicals, so less addictive properties. So that's going to be ideal. But look at something that you're doing to help positively affect it. And know that this is a gift to yourself. So let's do other gifts that are healthy. So every time you smoke a cigarette, take a glass of coconut water or some type of electrolyte or some type of high-dose vitamin C. Start doing some exercises, but look at physical, chemical, emotional stressors, because those are the reason that you're smoking now, because it is a stress response. So when you're looking at physical, particularly when you're talking about emphysema, you got the nerve to the diaphragm that comes out of the neck. Then you got the cardiac and respiratory center here. Then you have the insertion of the diaphragm there. So if you have healthier biomechanics of the lungs, you can start to regenerate that tissue. As crazy as that sounds. But you've got to look at the physical stressors. So identify the neck, thoracic, low back, pelvis area. That's going to be incredibly important. Look at high-dose vitamin C. Do a live blood cell analysis so you can see if the health of the blood, if it's overlapping from chronic stress, because the red blood cells should be separate so they can hold oxygen. And knowing that the lungs do the oxygen carbon dioxide transfer, if the blood's not efficient, you're not going to be having that positive effect to get rid of that carbon dioxide and cellular waste products. Once you've identified and corrected the curve in the neck, corrected any structural deviations, beautiful. Then look at resetting your sleep patterns. And understand by wearing sleep masks, you're going to be going from one sleep cycle to another rapid eye movement cycle, and make sure that the eye coverings that you have are sufficient to where you can open and close your eyes at nighttime. Hugely important. Look at healing the gut. That's where neurotransmitters are. Look at deep diaphragmatic breathing. And I'm talking 10 minutes every hour. So you can start to utilize that diaphragm to get the system healthy. Look at healthy probiotics and prebiotics. So look to see if there's a leaky gut that could be a contributing factor to the chronic state of stress that causes you to smoke cigarettes. Then look at the emotional component. Why are you doing this? Nobody drinks too much. Nobody smokes too much. Nobody does drugs unless there's an underlying stressor. And then once you start to address those underlying emotional stressors, physical stressors, and chemical stressors, then you can start to incorporate adding something, not subtracting it, adding something, adding fresh juice, such as carrot juice, that turns into beta-carotene, helping the lung function. And look at, since the lungs are having an issue, you've got 4 detox pathways: respiration, perspiration, bowel movements, and urination. So we have to use the other pathways. So look at, and we recommend apple, carrot, beet, and celery juice. Why? Apples have malic acid. Those clean the kidneys. Carrots turn into beta-carotene, cleaning the lungs. Beets clean the liver, and celery is good for minerals. And when you're in a stress, you have less minerals. So this is going to be vital to look at the health of the blood, look at the juicing. And let me tell you, if you're drinking a liter of juice of equal amount of apple, carrot, beet, and celery, you're going to probably get some diarrhea, which is great because that's going to help detox the system. You detox the system, you get more effectiveness, and then look at cross-crawl exercises. Look at walking every day. That's going to be fantastic. But that diaphragmatic breathing is going to be a game changer. So address the underlying stressors, and then you're going to be addressing why you're smoking. Okay, and I'm telling you, it's so beautiful to see people actually crave those healthy things that you're adding instead of taking away. And let me know how you're doing. Tough Essie. I love the names. Okay, question 2 from Gillette Storm. What's the latest time to go to sleep by, and is 8 hours too long? When we look at it, there's the natural circadian rhythm, okay? Like some plants open at night, some plants close at night. Okay, human beings, ideally, you're asleep between 10 or 11 and 1 o'clock in the morning, ideally, because that's when you're in the deepest state of sleep. And remember, sleep is super active metabolically in your body. So that's why we recommend go to bed at 10 to 10:30. And since we recommend sleep restrictive therapy, which is phenomenal, you're restricting your sleep to 6 hours a night for 21 days. So you're hitting a reset button on your brain. Optimal function is 6.5 to 7.5 hours. So 8 hours is in the ballpark, okay, because it does take a while to go to sleep. But know that sleep is the most important part of your day. So if you're sleeping on a grounded sheet, beautiful. That's an antioxidant surface. So pick up one of those. Look at diaphragmatic breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. While you're going to sleep, look at preparing your mind for sleep. So no computers, TVs, cell phones, iPads, none of those electronics an hour before you go to bed. Read a paper book 15 minutes before bed. Journal. Write down what you did that day, what you're going to do the next day, and any emotionally charged event. So the prep work, preparing your environment for sleep, because it has to be so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face, or you have to wear the eye coverings, nightshades. And then limiting your sleep to reset the circadian rhythm. Within 5 to 7 days, you should be sleeping through the night if you're doing everything. The journaling, the reading, the nightshades, preparing the environment, no electronics before bed, eating a healthy protein snack right before bed, exercising a couple of hours before, like going for a nice evening walk. All of those things. Warm bath before bed is fantastic. Essential oils are going to be great, having a cool environment. So look at the environment you're sleeping in has super, super important. And then you're going to find out the healing power of sleep is amazing. But do all the prep work and your body will reset. And 8 hours, it's in the ballpark. It's really 9 hours or more is damaging, 5 hours or less is damaging. Optimal is 6.5 to 7.5 hours. 8's still okay. Question 3 from Anna Christie. I've had trouble with sleep my whole life, or I've had trouble all my life with sleep. Working early afternoons and nights in a care home might be the reason. Absolutely. I have ovarian cancer, stress. No sleep is the main factor. Absolutely right. And you're talking that they used to call people that work nights the graveyard shift only because they died early, not that they worked in graveyards. And I have a lot of patients that are pilots, truckers. They work in offices in different countries. So they sleep in different time zones or work in different time zones as well. So this is huge. And when you look at cancer, cancer is a toxic environmental exposure. Your body literally forms those tumors. So you have a huge amount of endocrine exposures or things that are like hormones but aren't hormones. So look at your pelvis is going to be unstable because that houses half the ability to rest, digest, and repair. That's the parasympathetic nervous system. Look at the structure of the body. There may be a cervical problem in the neck. There could be a lateral thoracic deviation. So you have to look at the entire structure. That's why we talk about physical stressors. Find somebody that's going to take an x-ray, do a series of adjustments, and then take another x-ray to show they fix the physical stressor. That's going to be huge. And then look at stabilizing the pelvis, look at getting a healthy gut, because that's your immune system. and tissue production. So ovarian cancer is really a lightning or like a big fire alarm telling you that there's a tissue production problem and there's a toxic environmental exposure. And then, even though you're sleeping, you're working during the nighttime, by addressing the physical stressor, that's going to be huge. Addressing the emotional stressor, this means you actively reprogram your brain. And this is why we teach every patient neurolinguistic programming, which is literally reprogramming the mind. And also we teach visualization and diaphragmatic breathing. Check out all our videos on those. Those are hugely important. And then look at chemical stressors. So the diet has to be hormone-free, organic as possible. If you're eating animal products, they've got to be healthy animals. Dairy is fantastically good if it's raw and healthy and organic, and it can be toxic if it's gotten from hormone-laden based animals. And this is why there's so many hormone-laden tumors now, because of endocrine exposure, which is things that are like hormones but not hormones. And most pesticides are estrogen-based. This is why we're seeing a lot of ovarian tumors, cysts, uterine fibroids. We're seeing a whole bunch of pelvic floor issues. And by addressing the physical stress, by addressing the chemical stress, and by addressing the emotional stress, you're going to see that your body will be able to adapt even to that toxic sleep schedule. And if you can, switch to daytime. But I know that it's almost impossible to do that. And let me know how you're doing, Hannah. Question 4 from PJ Warden. Thank you, Dr. John. Working on most of the advice, and it helps. Would you please explain more about the pattern of falling asleep easily and waking later? I sleep consistently, exactly 4 hours, then wake, sometimes for no apparent reason, for no apparent cause. And then follows a miserable period of 2 hours when I can't get comfortable, much less sleep. Usually sleep another 4 to 5 hours between 2 and 7 a.m. and feel fine during the day. That the body goes through 90-minute cycles when you're sleeping. And this is why when you complete that cycle, your eyes open, then they close. That's why it takes a half hour to fall asleep. You make it through one cycle, you get the other cycle, then you wake up. So you're getting 2 rapid eye movements per night. And totally guessing, but that makes sense why you're waking up at 4 hours. So some of the prep work: prepare the environment, sleep on a grounding sheet if you can, make sure it's cool, prepare your mind for sleep by journaling and reading, a paper book, no electronic devices, at least an hour before bed. Make sure you have eye coverings on that you can open and close your eyes, or it's so dark you can't see your hand in front of your face. So once you've done all of those prep works, then when you're laying down and you're starting to go to sleep, diaphragmatic breathe. Do at least 20 diaphragmatic breaths. Allow your mind to roam and breathe free and start to get into that breathing. And this is why you read a paper book 15 minutes before. The book of Numbers out of the Bible is great because you don't want to read anything interesting, exciting, thrilling. And the book of Numbers may be exciting for a researcher, but, a refrigerator assembly manual, say, anything. But that's going to calm the overactive mind. But that diaphragmatic breathing, when you're laying down and you're just have your eyes closed, in through the nose, out through the mouth, 20 of those breaths before, and you're more than likely going to fall asleep before 20 breaths. And if you didn't fall asleep before 20 breaths, continue that diaphragmatic breathing after all of the prep work, preparing the environment, and then let me know how you're sleeping, because it usually takes about 5 to 7 days of implementing those actions to achieving the deep states of sleep. And PJ Warden, let me know how you're doing. God bless you. The planet was built for you, and you were built for the planet. God bless you all.